Though Hulk Hogan is no stranger to controversy outside of the ring, he also received criticism for a number of his victories in the WWE and WCW. After more than 30 years, the Hulkster is still a hot topic of debate among fans for a variety of reasons, both in wrestling and in his personal life. But this time, we're gonna stay with the in-ring action to avoid drawing attention to Bubba the Love Sponge or how racist Hogan is. Being a well-known wrestler, Hulk Hogan frequently prevails in matches, but those victories aren't always pleasant or deserving. He has occasionally won matches in both WWE and WCW that are plain annoying. With that being said, sit back and relax as we take a look at Hulk Hogan in controversial times. You might not recall, but around the middle of the 2000s, Hogan and Billy Kidman engaged in a fight over the idea that the older, wealthier wrestlers were keeping the younger talent in check. Hogan eventually prevailed in 2 consecutive pay-per-view events, including Bash at the Beach, where he struck Kidman with a pair of brass knuckles in a contest that Hogan's nephew Horace served as a guest referee. So Hogan finally defeated a rising star because he was more well-known than him in a conflict that did not even remotely boost Kidman's profile. The Hulkster took on the Heartbreak Kid in the main event of SummerSlam, and boy, is it something to behold. Reportedly, this was supposed to be the first in a 3-match series that would end with Shawn Michaels ultimately winning, but Hulk Hogan refused. As a result, Michaels decided to oversell every single one of Hogan's moves to mock the 52-year-old.
The big boot! The impact!
Hogan will end up beating the younger talent in what's one of the most sarcastic wrestling matches you'll ever see. One of Hulk Hogan's more arrogant feuds, the Hulkster fought the former Ultimate Warrior for a few months because Hogan wanted to recoup his victory after giving it up to Warrior in their memorable WrestleMania 6 fight.
The big splash, 1, 2, and he got him!
Because of the subpar in-ring action, the Halloween Havoc bout is criticized as being among the worst ever. Nevertheless, Hogan also botched the finale when he inadvertently burned the flash paper in his own face rather than the Warriors, forcing them to quickly devise a new conclusion. Hopefully it was worthwhile. The Mega Powers faced off against the Alliance to end Hulkamania, also known as almost every significant WCW villain in one of the most handicapped matches in history. The outcome was 2 men who hardly ever get along, managing to defeat 2 classic horsemen in an overwrought cage match that made no sense. The match was bad, the rules were never explained, and the match was bad. In the middle of the 2000s, Randy Orton adopted the moniker The Legend Killer, which was an incredible gimmick that saw him insult and frequently RKO famous senior wrestlers. Amazingly, facing Hulk Hogan, one of the most storied WWE superstars of all time, would be Orton's obvious next step. But, as we've already established, Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan, and in what turned out to be Hogan's final bout for World Wrestling Entertainment, he prevailed against Randy Orton.
Hogan playing the physical game and the mind game with young Randy Orton.
Hogan is so unwilling to lie down that we're fairly certain he sleeps in a standing position. In the age of Vince Russo, WCW was notorious for its numerous idiotic, worked shoots, in which wrestlers would behave out of character to emphasize the significance of a match or occasion. Jarrett would be told to lay down for the 3 during this title bout when Russo entered the arena.
What in the world, Jeff Jarrett?
When Hogan used the microphone to lament that incidents like this were the reason why WCW was failing, Russo publicly dismissed him.
That's why this company's in the shape it's in, because of this.
The aftermath of this episode is particularly puzzling because Hogan genuinely left and sued WCW. Furthermore, this was not the first occasion that someone has simply laid down for Hogan.
For Hollywood Hogan right now. Look at the response from these people, JR.
In 1996 to 97, WCW lucked into a storyline that finally made them major competition with WWE, as the NWO invaded WCW.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
To combat their leader, Hollywood Hogan, Sting transformed from a bodybuilding surfer into a supernatural agent of justice. It was a hot feud, and their Starrcade title match was the culmination of a year-and-a-half-long storyline. Hogan not only won, killing Sting's momentum,
2, 3.
but they also screwed up what was already supposed to be a screwy finish, making the whole thing even worse.
Well, Bret Hart is here tonight as the referee.
At Starrcade 1998, Kevin Nash, who had left the NWO to be a good guy, put an end to Goldberg's incredible run of victories.
1, 2, 3. The streak is over, and we have a new world champion.
A week or so later, he competed for the title in a televised match against Hollywood Hogan. The NWO was abruptly reconstituted as Hogan fell down for the 3 count after softly poking Nash in the chest to conclude the match.
What's that about?
Fans refer to that point in time as the finger poke of doom, as WCW undermined its own success in order to rely on its most well-liked brainchild with declining returns.
A lot of fans and critics think that that incident began the demise of WCW.
That whole thing was just spin-off, vile, just negative, toxic waste from Russo. I think none of us were really ready for it, and the finger point of doom and stuff like that was the beginning of the demise.
Yeah.
You know, and then it just kept going. I laid down.
If you've made it this far and have enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to be entered into our monthly shout-out giveaway. Once you do it, comment "I subbed" down below. Without further ado, let's get to the most exciting moment. Even though his victory at WrestleMania 9, widely regarded as the worst WrestleMania ever, was incredibly upsetting, Yokozuna and Bret Hart battled for the WWF Championship in the evening's main bout, which Yokozuna won. Following the bout, Hulk Hogan, who had previously competed earlier in the evening, entered the ring to defeat Yoko in a matter of minutes and capture the championship as payback for Hart's defeat.
Hogan is the champion. I cannot believe this.
Makes sense why Bret Hart is constantly angry. Be sure to watch the worst botches and mistakes in WrestleManias, and we will see you in the next video.